It's a pleasure to have you here. We are live on DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144, and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The details now. Dean of Academic Affairs at the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Dr. Vladimir Ntwidanso, has warned politicians against comments which can incite their supporters to pick up arms if results of the elections do not go their way. Former President John Mahama has on a number of occasions cast doubt on the neutrality of the current EC chairperson, John Mensah. And in his latest comment, he said he did not have confidence in her.
Elections are about consensus, that we build a consensus and we move together. And that's why the IPAC is such a very important body. Today, the IPAC is like an enemy to the EC. The EC doesn't want the IPAC. They've gone to resurrect plenty dead parties and brought them to IPAC so that they can create a majority there and bulldoze their way through. Fine, bulldoze your way through. Don't build consensus. On the day if the thing backfires, it's going to backfire on you. And this is the first time I'm seeing huge numbers of names missing after we've done the registration. So you can have somebody's name is missing here and there. Well, how can you have a situation where the first day you go 21,000 names are missing? Then an MP's name is not there. Then the very next day you secretly bring a new one and say, oh, his name was there, he didn't see it. I know they are new, so you might not be as competent, but you always have a back office and technical people who backstop you. And so you must rely on those people to show you what to do. But they have a mind of their own. Those three commissioners, they're doing things the way they want, you know. And I hear that a lot of people who are very capable and technically competent, because they served under Charlotte Osei's administration, they've transferred them out to the district. And they don't have as much competence in the headquarters as they should have, especially with experienced hands. There are some new advisors on IT and all that kind of thing. And that's why, for the first time, I begin to doubt the competence of our commission. This has been a model commission to the whole of Africa. And I've always felt confident that we have a commission that on the day will rise up to the occasion. This time, I'm afraid I don't have that level of confidence.
While chairperson of the commission, John Mensah, has dismissed allegations of the EC planning to rig the elections for a particular party.
The EC can never rig an election. The processes are transparent, they are credible, they are tight, and they are accountable. And we cannot for any reason have a flawed election with this kind of process that has been hailed globally. I think even in advanced democracies, this transparency does not exist. Herein lies the transparency and openness of our process, making it difficult for anybody to rig an election or for any process to be flawed. Can anybody here or can anybody in the public tell us at which point of this transparent process the EC can rig the election? We use this platform to call on all political parties and stakeholders who have genuine concerns with the processes outlined to raise them in the full glare of the public. Once we as a commission are informed about the weaknesses and gaps in the processes outlined, we will take immediate steps to address these gaps, close and seal the gaps, and report same to the public in an open, transparent, and accountable manner. Until then, we entreat the naysayers to cease their onslaught of trying to discredit a thorough and credible process, and their onslaught of trying to discredit a commission that has been open and transparent and accountable to the people that it serves, that is the good people of this country. If for nothing at all, the current commission has opened up all its processes to the public and removed the cloaks of secrecy that shrouded our activities and operations in the past. We have laid bare our processes for all to see.
While in an interaction with journalists in Accra, Dr. Vladimir Ntwidanso, an international relations expert, is warning politicians against comments that can incite their supporters, plunging the country into chaos.
Say somebody should withdraw a statement. I will only advise that all our utterances must queue in for consolidation of democracy. It doesn't make sense for me to say that withdraw your statement. He made a statement as part of his propaganda, as part of his listening. I'm saying that let such statements not denigrate the institution or the head of the institution. And as I've said, I strongly believe in me that President Mahama, ex-President Mahama, is making one of those things, propaganda and what do you call it, campaign. After all, our democracy is one of making sure that you get one person more, and everywhere. But to be honest, maybe my last comment is this, that let us watch out. From where I sit and the little research we've been doing, democracy is hiccuping very badly throughout the world. And we must guard our democracy very jealously. I hope you can headline this. It's hiccuping, even in America. Trump appoints a postmaster general whom it was seen clearly he wanted to use that position to make problems for the opposition. They raised it. They didn't go and beat the postmaster general. They raised it. They said the institution of the postmaster general is very important in our elections. We use it in posting things. So if the postmaster general, the new rules you are bringing is unconstitutional. They raised it and the man reversed the whole thing. That's the example I'm giving. But you could see that democracy everywhere is hiccuping very badly. In Ghana, for heaven's sake, let us protect our democracy by having confidence in our institutions. Do you know what? I don't have confidence in political parties. I always want to have confidence in our institutions. They are the ones which will make democracy work, not the political parties. Let such statements not denigrate the institution or the head of the institution. And as I've said, I strongly believe in me that President Mahama, ex-President Mahama, is making one of those things, propaganda and what do you call it, campaign. After all, our democracy is one of making sure that you get one person more, and everywhere. But to be honest, maybe my last comment is this, that let us watch out. From where I sit and the little research we've been doing, democracy is hiccuping very badly throughout the world. And we must guard our democracy very jealously.
That was Dr. Vladimir Intridansu, Dean of Academic Affairs at the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, speaking directly to politicians and responding to recent concerns raised by the flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, about the neutrality of the Electoral Commission. Now, the hope of becoming president for 5 aspirants who filed their nominations to contest the December polls has been dashed. At a press conference Monday, EC Chairperson John Mensah explained their disqualification was based on a myriad of issues, including forgery of signatures with no avenue for appeal. Now, some have served notice of going to court. Marie Kofi Gan is already accusing the EC of unfair treatment.
We believe that these issues that the EC is raising can be resolved. We have heard from the news being put out, or the comments being put out in the media, that there were some irregularities and that the candidates themselves are in the know and they have been informed. As I state here, we have not at any point in the last 1 week or the day that was left for the filing process to be complete heard from the EC. We've received no calls, we've received no written nominations, we've received no emails, absolutely nothing. And we have provided all these details in case the EC needed to get us. And so what I will say now is that we still believe there are ways to solve these issues. And so we will be in touch with the EC to gain some further clarification as to what exactly they find wrong with our nomination and what exactly is the way forward. And depending on that conversation with the EC, we would carry out any further steps we need to carry. As a matter of fact, we are in the process of ensuring that any of those further steps that we need to carry do get carried at the right time so that we can correct some of these things. So all I have to say to everybody who is listening is that a big thank you for the massive support you have given to this campaign. a big thank you to the support that we will expect that you.
You heard that one of the disqualified presidential aspirants. Well, he's not the only one. Here's a News Desk report highlighting those who've qualified to run as president in the December 2020 polls and those disqualified.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, these are your presidential candidates for the 2020 presidential election.
Nana Akufo-Addo, New Patriotic Party NPP, John Mahama, National Democratic Congress NDC, Alfred Kwame Walker, Independent Candidate, Bridget Jogbenuku, Progressive People's Party PPP, Ekriadonko, Ghana Freedom Party GFP, Nana Konedu Ajiman Rawlings, National Democratic Party NDP, Hassan Ayariga, All People's Congress APC, Ivor Greenstreet, Convention People's Party CPP, Kofi Akbalu, Liberal Party Ghana LPG, David Apasera, People's National Convention PNC, Henry Herbert Latte, Great Consolidated Popular Party GCPP, Christian Kwabena Andrews, Ghana Union Movement GUM.
We wish all our qualifying candidates the best of luck in their bid to ascend the office of the presidency. We urge all of them to engage in a decent campaign, a campaign based on policies and programs that will lead to the betterment of our society. As referees, our role is to arrange and organize orderly, fair, transparent, and peaceful and credible elections. And we assure you that we are working hard to do just that.
However, this is the end of the road for independent candidates Kofi Kranting and Marie Kofi Gan, as well as Akwesi Adeodike of the United Progressive Party UPP, Kwesi Busumburu of the People's Action Party PAP, and Ejenim Boateng, United Front Party UFP. But the EC says there will be no room for appeal. The Commission has since referred issues of forgery of signatures to the Criminal Investigations Department for further investigations. But all hope is not lost. Here is why.
To the aspiring presidential candidates who did not make this process, we wish you better luck next time. Your filing fees of 100,000 cedis will be refunded to you.
It remains to be seen the various actions to be taken by the Big Five, but at least they get to vote in the December polls. Just that it won't be for themselves.
Let's now head to the EC headquarters. My colleague Kwesi Parker Wilson is there. We understand some of the disqualified aspirants have been trying to get some audience with the EC chairperson. Hello, Parker. Which of the disqualified aspirants have you spotted?
Okay, so independent candidates, Marie Kofi Gani, the flag bearer for UFP, Nana Ajenim Boateng, popularly known as Jasaba, have been to the Electoral Commission. In fact, they left a while ago. Now, according to them, they came to see the commission to understand why they were disqualified. In fact, for Marie Kofi Gani, the independent candidate, he says he doesn't understand the meaning of the same party. So he actually came here around 8 a.m. To understand the meaning of the same pattern as alleged by the Electoral Commission. That hasn't been done yet. He's been told by the Deputy EC boss, Samuel Tete, to come back at 2 p.m. and meet the commissioners so that they give him a better understanding as to why he was disqualified. He also tells me that he's not heard anything from the police. The police hasn't contacted him. So he's even surprised why the Electoral Commission would say that the matter was referred to the police, and yes, the police hasn't contacted him. Again, he talked about unfair treatment because the EC contacted some of the aspirants when they had issues, and yet for him, nobody contacted him. So he doesn't understand why the commission would want to do that. So he has said that he's going to come back at 2 p.m. For that meeting because he wants to be in the race, and that is not going to affect his campaign at all. For Nana Ajenim Boateng, his allegation was that the 3 individuals who endorsed his candidature denied knowledge of same. Now, according to him, those 3 individuals are his party members. He can confirm that they're his party members, and that for him, right from here, he's seeing his lawyers, he's proceeding to court to challenge the Electoral Commission's decision. So we shouldn't think that, oh, he is out of the race entirely, and that whatever the Electoral Commission does he would be on the ballot paper for 2020, the consensus election.
Talking about being on the ballot paper, Parker, we understand that the balloting will happen later today. Are you able to give us details of that?
Well, that's correct. The Electoral Commission has sent publication to the political parties for all those who are qualified, so all the 12 aspirants to come to the Electoral Commission later today for the balloting. Now, the balloting will give them the opportunity to choose where they would be on the ballot paper. Now, last year, for example, the NPP and NDC, number 3 and number 5, today, as they are 12 aspirants, we wouldn't know where they will find themselves on the ballot paper. And Bennett, you know that sometimes some of these political parties put their own interpretation to the balloting or the position on the ballot. So we wait to see how the ballot will go this afternoon. And we are told that indeed around 2:30, that will be done. So we'll give all the information to our viewers when that is done.
Thank you very much, Kwesi Parker Wilson, there coming to us live from the EC headquarters. He reports that independent candidate Marik Kofi and Nana Ajeni Mboateng have visited the office today. They were hoping to speak to the EC boss. They want more clarity on reasons given for their disqualification. As you heard there, Nana Ajeni Mboateng is threatening to go to court, and Marie Kofi has been asked to come back at 2 p.m. Kwesi Parker Wilson is there for us and will bring us all the updates you need to know, plus what happens during the balloting. Now, about 400 female dependents of cashew farmers in the Bunu East and Savannah regions have received beekeeping training organized by Olam Ghana Cashew in partnership with German Development Agency under its EPIC project. The move, aimed at improving the livelihood of cashew farmers and their households, is providing technical and infrastructural support on beekeeping in order to create sustainable jobs to generate alternative source of income. There's more in the following report.
Olam Ghana Cashew, in partnership with German Development Agency GIZ under its EPIC project aimed at improving the livelihoods of cashew farmers and their households, is providing technical and infrastructural support on beekeeping to female dependents of cashew farmers. The move, which targets females, especially youth who depend on male cashew farmers, is to provide an alternative source of income to support their households and ease their responsibilities on the male cashew farmers. Mr. John Duty is the program director of GIZ.
With this particular initiative that we are here, we targeted 400 female children of the farmers to really turn them into apiculturists, and it's been very, very successful. Looking at we started it on a pilot basis with 2 hives each, and the results have been very phenomenal. So we hope that with the additional hives that we are giving them, they will earn more income, and that will attract more youth to come on board.
He adds that the partnership with Olam Ghana is yielding positive results, as about 10,000 farmers have been covered already.
And the target is to have 25,000 farmers increasing their productivity and thereby increasing their incomes of more than 10% during the period. And so far we've covered about 10,000 farmers, and we hope to do so at 15,000 farmers by the end of this project.
Representative of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Dr. Antonio Seitutu, lauded Olam Ghana and GIZ for their efforts in creating sustainable jobs for female beneficiaries in rural communities.
We anticipate that this offer will go a long way, not only to enhance your productivity, but also improve your income generation capacity. And on behalf of my director, I'd like to thank Olam and other associated organizations like GIZ for the immense contribution in the area of farmer trainings on crops quality to our farmers and to the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and Ghana as a whole.
some of the beneficiaries disclosed to JoyNews how the initiative has helped in bringing relief to female cashew farmers.
I
have benefited a lot from this project, and I know that this would help in supporting our families, especially in taking care of our children's needs whilst in school. Ife Diamond tells me the project is helping alleviate poverty in the farming communities, thereby empowering female dependents of cashew farmers.
It reduces poverty a lot. It has helped many people to cater for their family, especially in villages like this. We don't have any work aside farming, so introducing the beekeeping, it really helps people. For instance, my dad has to do everything, but now that my mom has money due to this beekeeping, she does a lot of things on her own. She doesn't need to ask my daddy for money, and she has the money to do everything she wants. So it will help women to make their own money.
At least 500 beehives and other equipments have been distributed to these beneficiaries across the Bono East and Savannah regions. Reporting for JoyNews, Anas Sabit, Mr. Dine.
The Ghana Cocoa Board has commenced investigations into JoyNews' expose on the illegal renting of certification license by some licensed cocoa buying companies and farmer society groups to businessmen. It follows the revelation that one could rent a cocoa certificate for as high as 1 million cedis. These underhand dealings make the farmer poorer, defeating the purpose of the cocoa sustainability program. Let's bring you some excerpts of the Robbing the Poor documentary by investigative journalist Kwetinati.
To ascertain how deep this canker is in this industry, I request to meet another cocoa interest group willing to sell their certificate to me. Hope introduces me to officials of Farmer Base Association Cocopa, its executive director Fred Amponsa, and one Ibrahim. We then shift the conversation on the shady details of using their certificate to export cocoa to chocolate producers.
Apart from, I'm asking this question to be clear. Apart from we giving you the lances, what other role are we going to play?
Hope admits that this act is illegal, but for him, in business, interest matters more than standards.
Since he's paying for management of the certificate for you, I don't think it should be 50. It should have a little higher. That's why I was mentioning 40%. 40% coming to the copper if it's your business.
Surely it's not more. Because they have yes.
Because like he indicated, because like he indicated, if we are taking care of the cost of management of the
group, and they are still buying.
Yeah, I think 40-60 should be fair.
While speaking to JoyNews in an interview, Deputy Cocoa Board CEO in charge of operations, Dr. Emmanuel Opoku, said a committee will be set up to establish the extent of the malpractice. He also added the licensed buying companies found culpable will not be allowed to ship certified cocoa to their financiers abroad.
Thank you very much. I hope I'm speaking to MFR.
Exactly so, rightly so. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, MFR, thanks a lot. In fact, we are shocked to hear this kind of treatment that some LBCs are given to farmers. I recall that not long ago this year, we have started sanitizing this whole system of sustainability cocoa and certification and traceable cocoa with the creation of foundation. That foundation is managed by Cocoa Board and the off-taker as well as the LBC. Okay, so that's the off-taker's rep here. The idea of the foundation is to make sure that all the premiums are paid into the foundation's account so that it will be paid, to be distributed to the beneficiaries promptly. Now we have a group of farmers who are kind of resisting this foundation, depositing the premiums into the foundation account on the excuse that they are receiving the premiums directly. They've agreed with the off-taker to receive the premiums directly. So this development is just giving me a second thought about the whole thing. In the first place, the companies involved, we are going to stop any cocoa this year, starting this year, whether the cocoa was produced as certified or not, so long as the company has been identified as,
Away from that, residents of Ahinsan Estate in the Ashanti region say they are living in fear after a 36-year-old man was robbed and shot dead. The deceased, Maxwell Aweto, is said to have made an unknown transaction at the Prudential Bank at Tonsu branch in Kumasi prior to his murder. Love FM's Kwesi Deborah is following the story and joins me via Zoom. So, Kwesi Deborah, just narrate the incident or events that led to the killing of this man.
Well, an eyewitness that we spoke with said he spotted two men arrived at the house where Maxwell has entered. So they were on a motorbike and they arrived there. And one of them in a military camouflage shorts with a black t-shirt entered the house, followed him to the house. And so what they heard suddenly was a gunshot sound. And one of the suspected robbers who was sporting a black t-shirt with a camouflage shorts came out and jumped on the waiting motorbike with a brown envelope, and the two sped off. So they went in and they saw Maxwell, who was in a pool of blood with bullet wound on his neck. And so from there, they sent him to the Kumasi South Hospital. Shortly he died. And yes.
So quickly, what's the police telling you? What's the police saying about this, Kwesi?
Well, we spoke with the police in the morning, and they said they began investigation. They've seen some cues, and so they're following up on the cues. So
all right.
It's investigation which has begun now.
All right. Thank you very much. Kwesi Deborah joined us from Kumasi in the Ashanti region. Our aviation experts are warning of danger and dire consequences as private and real estate developers continue to build very close to aviation equipment at Lankwantanan in Ashalibuche, La Wireless and East Legon. At East Legon, some of the developers have cleared the green belt, which is supposed to serve as a buffer between the motorway and the boundary road, replacing the lush green with permanent concrete structures. Maxwell Aweto has more in this report.
True. You know, true. For the building, that's what they refer to as development. Look around us. When they look at the town city, they say, oh, that's development. Yeah.
Voice of Dr. Andrew Anani Akutu showing me a picture with his wife during a visit to the South Pole. He reminisces about the good times there. In the 1970s, it was the lush green and the serene environment that attracted him to East Legon. But that is no more. The greenery has now given way to concrete. The green belt, which was supposed to serve as a buffer between the motorway and East Legon, has been cleared by property developers, with some of them dangerously constructing high-rise buildings under flight approach paths. The former director of the UNFPA and the former chairman of the National Population Council is just one out of the many Ghanaians and residents of East Legon terrified about the situation. He wants persons who have put their personal interest above the state's interest punished.
It was all, the whole of that area was just virgin bush, if you like. Indeed, the street on which I live, it's called Blackberry Street, because it had a huge blackberry tree, and that was the marker for me. And the whole of that area, if you go to East Legon now, many of the streets in my area are all named after plants and fruits and so on and so forth. And that was the big attraction, getting away from the all concrete, you see. to somewhere where there was a lot of vegetation and so on. But so much has changed. So much has changed, particularly in the last 10, 15 years, and not all of it for the better, particularly for those who happen to live in East Legon. Some of those trees were perhaps 100 years old or more. It takes that long to grow a tree. Even if you demolished all those buildings now and planted the trees, it will take a long time for us to green. But the important thing is that examples must be made of the people who flout the law, who ignore. It must be made clear that not only armed robbers, but all those who flout the law do so at their peril. And the law should be no respecter of persons. All the people who have done all they knew what they were doing was wrong. They knew that there was a law. I don't know whether the judgment had been set aside. It's possible that the Lands Commission or some appropriate authority had the law set aside, the judgment set aside. I do not know this. But the lawyer who represented the association, who took the matter to court, is alive. It's alive today. So I am baffled that the law could be set aside, the judgment could be set aside without recourse to the people who brought the case to court. But as I say, I'm not sure. But if it turns out that, in fact, people have just decided to ignore the law, the judgment, then that does not augur well for our beloved country.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
It was good.
You're welcome. We are all witnesses to what has been happening now on the green belt. And all the trees have been cut down, and we see high-rise buildings going up. And it only goes to confirm, I fear, what a friend of mine used to say, that in Ghana, monkeys play by sizes. If you are big enough, you'll get away with it. But if you're a small fry, then be very careful. It is encouraging to hear and to have noticed that the minister has caused to be demolished one of those buildings. But alas, it is not the only building there. The minister, maybe he has started, but he must complete the job and demolish everything in that area there, because it is the belief of those of us who live there that these buildings have been put up in contravention, total disregard of a court order and a court judgment. Are some people in our country so powerful because of their personal, private, financial concerns